Well, hello, everybody. I am so excited about this craft that I'm doing today that I thought I would just jump on and do an impromptu live with you. I am doing a bee themed porch, and this is going to be part of what's out there. So I made one, and you can see how cute that is. All right, I didn't really make it so you could see how cute it is. I actually made it because, like, I didn't want to make the very first one I ever did on a live. So, but isn't it pretty? So let's jump in and I'll show you how I made it. Now, Chalk Couture does sell sticky mats for using on ink, but they've been out for a while. So I have this Cricut fabric grip mat that I'm going to use to hold my banner down while I'm working on it. So I'm just going to stick the banner to it. And I'm skipping this one because I'm going to do a different pattern on that one. And the transfer I want to use hasn't come in yet. So I'm going to skip to the third one and push that down. And then, because I'm working on a sticky mat, oops, I forgot to put the microphone on. Okay, because I'm working on a sticky mat, I don't want my transfer to stick to the sticky mat. So I'm just going to put some pieces of fabric beside this. And to be perfectly honest, I probably could do this just on my Chalk Couture mat, but I think I don't want this to slide around while I'm trying to work on it. So, like I said, I'm just going to put some pieces of fabric on the side. And I had another piece of fabric. There it is. And in fact, I think I'm going to cut some off of this so I can put it across the top too in case I need to when I lay this transfer down. Okay, now we are all ready to put the transfer down. I think though I want to do it the other way. I want my pennant on top of my fabrics. Okay, this fabric banner, by the way, I got at Amazon, and when we're done with the live, I will go into comments and let you know how you can get it. All right, so this is the transfer I'm using, and it is floral frame is what it's called. And technically, you use it. It was made to be used around an A-size transfer, so you could do a floral frame on the transfer. But it also works really well for this little project. So what I'm doing is trying to line this up. There's a little screen here, and I don't want that on my banner. Also, because I'm doing fabric, I did not fuzz this first. So you don't need to fuzz if you're doing fabric. And I'm just going to start. Oh, and I'm using paste on fabric, not ink, because I'm going to be doing a watercolor, and I wasn't really sure how that would work with ink. So I decided I would just use paste. I'm not going to be washing this anyway. It's not like it's a t-shirt or something that needs to be laundered. So, and as always, I'm stirring my paste. Always, always, always give your paste a good stir before you get started. How is everybody? Can you hear this creaky chair, you guys? It's like driving me nuts. Every time I move, my chair creaks. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to ask for some assistance in the creaky chair category. You know what I just noticed? This is going to end up solid black, and I don't want that, so I'm going to pull that up so we get more of the part that I can watercolor onto the fabric. Maybe even a little bit more. Okay. I can live with just that little bit of it on the fabric. So I'm going to give it a really good rub. Even though it's not ink, it is fabric, so it will take the paste a little bit different than a hard surface. Okay, let's just grab a clean squeegee, and just like normal, you just take a little bit of paste. You don't want to go crazy with the paste because it doesn't take much. All right. And then I'm going to remove my excess paste just like we always do. And need a place to put this down. Okay, how about the lid? Here we go. Okay, here we go. Ready for the big reveal? Whoosh! And there it is. Okay, now I need something on the other side. And I'm only going to show you guys one of these. I'm not going to stay on this live and do like 6 more of them. We're just going to do this one on live. And you'll see why. Okay, these take a while because we're going to be doing some hand painting on them as well. And a little bit of paste. Okay, I'm gonna, whoops, you know what, I see a spot I missed. Right there, it's just a teeny weeny little one, but all right, I'm gonna pull the transfer and try not to get black paste all over where it doesn't go. Okay, there we go. And now I've got a water bath over here to the side that you cannot see, but I just threw the transfer into the water bath so that the paste doesn't dry up in the screen while we're working on the rest of it. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty just like that without even adding the watercolor to it. But we're going to do some watercolor on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is dry it. Guys, I've got my cord stuck. Okay. And now I can pull this stuff all off of it. Okay, so that's our canvas, more or less. It's actually cotton, but what we're going to be working on with our watercolor. And I'm going to just go ahead and close up this black before I make a black mess all over everything else. You know, I watched other people do this, and somehow they're not as messy as I am. But, you know, good to know yourself. I know that's true. I'm messy. So I always have paper towels at the ready so that I can wipe my mess before I spread it all over. It's another thing that this little bottle is good for. So you can get your hands wet, grab your paper towel. Okay. So now we're going to do some watercolor painting. And I have already mixed up these pastes so that you don't have to watch while I do all the colors. And I'm going to be using different colors. For this panel, I'm going to use this yellow, and I'm going to mix up some of my morning sky. And I'll do that so you guys can see. This paste itself is a little bit thick. I think when you live in Phoenix in the summer, even if it's inside, it doesn't really matter. It just dries out this paste like crazy. Our humidity here is usually 5% or lower. So the air is just so dry that it sucks the moisture right out of everything. All right, so that's good enough to use for what we're doing. So I'm just going to take a little dollop of it and put it over here in my bowl. Woo! See what I mean about I'm messy? Thank goodness none of that got on my banner. All right, let's clean up this little mess before we move on. It's live, folks. Anything can happen. Okay. So, as I was saying, you put just a little in here, and then we're going to add, I'm going to put in 2 squirts of water. So we want this to be really thin. Like I said, it's a watercolor, so we want it to be almost translucent when it goes on to the fabric. Translucent, my big word of the day. Almost clear. See why I didn't want you to have to watch while I did this with all these colors? It takes a while to stir it all. Try to be respectful of your time, people. I try. I was all ready to come on and introduce this project as my craft room being all abuzz with bee projects, but, you know, did I really say that? Yes, I really did. I really did say my craft room is all abuzz with bee projects. All right, I think that's good enough. And I just have water up here so I can rinse my brush between colors. Here, I'll bring that down to where everything's on camera. Okay, so then It's just like when you were in kindergarten. I'm just going to paint the watercolor on. Do your best to stay in the lines, but I have a little trick I'll show you. When we're all done with the painting part, if you have gone outside of the line. I hope my hand's not blocking everything. It's just, I too am trying to stay in the lines. Can you see what I'm doing? Let me zoom this camera down just a little bit so you can see better what I'm doing. There you go. It's pretty light anyway, because like I said, you want it almost, you don't want the color to be heavy when you're using watercolor. So everybody's stuck at home on the 3-day weekend or got plans. We're not doing anything. I hurt my back this week, so we're just kind of doing easy stuff over the weekend, which is fine because I wanted to get this porch done. So I'll have lots of time to work on it. All right. So that is the blue flowers. And I'm just going to rinse off my brush. I'm thinking maybe I should dry those before I go further, because I'm going to put my hand down on it when I'm trying to paint over there. I can see it coming, so I think I'm just going to grab my dryer and dry. Now, I'm going to hold this up to the camera a little bit more. You still can't really see it. But right here, I've gone over the line with my blue. So I'm going to dry it, and then I'll show you how to fix it when you do that. Oops, puppy's awake. It is paste, so it dries fairly quickly. So I have this Sharpie oil-based paint marker, and it's an extra fine point. And I'm just gonna go over the part that's supposed to be black. With that. And now you can't really tell any different. I want this little part to be darker too. So I'm going to go over it. If you really wanted to get crazy, you could go over all of the black lines with your Sharpie, but I don't really think that's necessary. But the thicker lines, if you got blue on them, this is how you fix it. Okay, all fixed. You can't even tell. See, you can't even tell that it was, get it really close, except I'm going to get in there. You can't even tell that it had the blue on it. Okay. And there's another little bit of blue there that I missed. Clean that up before I drag something through it. All right, so now I cleaned my brush and I'm going to go ahead and do the yellow. This is Daffodil is what the paste color is called. And I've just thinned it out exactly like I did the blue. I almost feel like I need to bring that camera in even closer yet. Well, that's interesting. Sorry, guys. I didn't think that the phone would be able to ring when I was using it as a camera. But now I know it can. So as I was saying, it's live. Anything can happen. The dog barks, the phone rings, the notification thing beeps. It's my life. It's full of interruptions. But hey, I'm just going to craft on, okay? Okay. All right. Yellow is done now. And again, I'm going to dry it real quick before I do anything else. Okay, and that feels dry enough to move on. And I am going to bring this camera even just a little bit closer because it really is hard to see with watercolor. All right. And that is as close as I can get. All right, so I have some little flowers right here. And I think there's one down here too. I think I want the flower to be on top of the leaf. So I'm going to do the leaf first and then the flower so that the flower color is over the leaf. Okay, so I'm just going to rinse off my brush. And this looks like it could use a stir. This color is Spring Zing. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the leaves. Squeak, squeak. Like I said, every time I move, my chair squeaks. I don't know if that's being picked up or not, but but it is in my ears. I hear this chair squeak every time I moved. I guess that's something else I can put on my to-do list for the weekend. Oil the chair. And on this, I'm only being careful not to go outside of the lines on the edges. I don't care if I go over the lines on the leaf. Not one little bit. Get it as close as I can to that flower without getting it on it. Okay, now I'm going to clean my brush. Looks like I got a little bit of paste on there. I can probably wash it off, but it kind of adds to the handmade ambience. Maybe I'll just leave it. Okay, so I think I'm going to use, this one is called Peony. And for some reason, it just doesn't want to mix with my water as well as the other colors did. I tried to get this one to mix, and it just, I mean, it does mix. It will work. It's just that it seems thicker, kind of lumpier than the other colors. We just have 3 teeny weeny little flowers to do down here with this one. Probably these are so small, I'm going to have to do some touch up with the marker. There's no shame in doing touch up with the marker. If you have to, you have to. And I should have done these 2 little leaves in green while I had green open, but I'll go back over them as soon as we're done with this. Okay, pick up those other 2 little leaves, and then we'll fix it up with the marker, and we are done. Isn't that pretty? I just love doing watercolor with chalk transfers. It's like my new favorite thing. Okay. This brush keeps trying to fan out on me, and I want it to stay flat, so I keep kind of trying to play with the edge to get it to go back flat, since I'm working in such a teeny tiny little spot here. All right. I'll go ahead and dry it. You have to shake this every time you use it. Okay, so you're pretty close, but not close enough. I don't know. I'm going to get as close up here as I can. Yeah. I want you to be able to see it. So on those little pink flowers, you can kind of see from that close. where I went on the black lines, that's an outline of the flower. And I'm just going back over those with my Sharpie. Oops, and I missed one there. All right, let's get that one. You'll find stuff like that when you're going over it, where you miss something, no big deal. Okay, then down here, this one's going to need a lot of outline on that flower because it's over the top of that leaf. Okay, then I just drew that line down. And then up here on my yellow, I want to go over some of these edges too. This would probably work with any fine point Sharpie. I'm sure it doesn't have to be this paint kind. It's just I started poking around in the craft room for something to use. And the funny thing is, I'm a Sharpie addict. Like everybody I know knows that I'm a Sharpie addict. I have probably more Sharpies than anybody else in the world, except for maybe the Sharpie company themselves. And I could not find a fine point black Sharpie in here. But I did have this, so I decided I would go ahead and use it. Of course, if you decide to do your solid lines in a color that's not black, you'll need to get a coordinating Sharpie. Okay, and I see some little spots down here in the green that I want to touch up with the Sharpie also. It's getting dark here in Phoenix. I need to run out and get my garden watered before it gets completely dark. Somebody else that lives here is supposed to be keeping that puppy occupied while I'm doing this so she doesn't bark, but clearly he is not doing that job. I don't know if you guys can hear her barking, but I can. Okay, so now we've gone over all the edges. Should we put a bee in it? I have a bee in this other one over here, and it is a bee-themed porch. Let's see whether or not I can find the bee transfer quickly. And we're going to be using the bee transfers all week. So if you want to make this project, you should probably, again, I will leave the information. I'm just going to put my little bee right here. And take a piece of tape because I don't want his wings black. I'm going to do the rest of him in black. Go back to my black paste. This is the tool you need for doing fine work. You can use a small squeegee, but this is so much nicer. Okay, so now we have our bee. And pull off this tape. And probably should not have pulled the transfer yet. I got a little ahead of myself. All right, put it back down. And I'm going back to the the daffodil color. For the wings. And it is the diluted one. Okay, little bee is done. I'm going to dry him off. Squeak. All right. See if I can get his little abdomen having some of the yellow in it too. Okay, I'm going to dry that off. All right, now I'm going to take my little Sharpie and I'm going to draw around his wings so you can see where they are, because this yellow is so pale. There we go. And that, my friends, is it. We are ready to go on to the next one. So it didn't take that long to do. Isn't that pretty? I really, really, really like this. Let me put it back where you can see it. I forgot I've got my camera zoomed. There you go. Anyway, I think it's really pretty, and I can't wait to finish this and put it on my back porch and share it with you guys when the porch is all done. Have a wonderful night, and I will talk to you soon.